You know, you feel guilty. You're cutting your workout a little short. You're thinking, oh man, some family somewhere can't cook their dinner because I'm skipping out on my workouts. It's terrible, terrible pressure to put on people that are just trying to get healthy. All right, it's 11:12 on News Talk 550 KTSA. Gang of four for a Friday morning, kicking off Labor Day weekend. On the gang today, we have Yami Virden from.
It's okay.
Obviously, we go back a long way, her and I, from Fox San Antonio. I heard that you and I have a Massachusetts connection. What is your Massachusetts
I'm
connection?
an Army brat, and I grew up in Panama, Fort Devens, Massachusetts, when it was still around, Germany, Stuttgart, Nuremberg, and back to Fort Devens.
All over the place.
All over the place. Loved it.
And where were you before KABB?
Before KABB, I was at Telemundo. Actually, hold on. I'm a new old face.
Okay.
So KABB, Milwaukee.
Okay.
Before that, Telemundo here locally. Before that, Channel 4.
Wow.
I'm
You're
old.
so young. How have you been all these different places?
I'm old.
Oh, I can't believe that.
I've been doing this for about 20 years, radio, and actually, I worked here at one point when there was a KTFM when I was in college.
Well, there's still a KTFM.
Well,
but it's a different KTFM.
It's a different
You were at
KTFM.
the other KTFM.
Yes.
All
yes.
right. Everybody's been here at one time or another.
That's right.
And see, we just pull you back.
That's right.
You think you got out, and we pull you back in.
The tentacles.
All right, well, Yami, thank you. I'm going to learn your name, and
That's
I hope you're going to come back and do a lot more with us. We would love to have you back.
Love to be here.
Also with us today, Gilbert Garcia, who was at the Current and then moved over to the Express News and is covering City Hall. And I got to ask you, what do you think about is the anger that we saw recently over, like, for example, the smoking issue, is that actually going to translate to anybody being in trouble next year?
Good question.
We have notoriously short memories in this town.
Yeah, I can't really see it. I don't, and there hasn't really been, that was kind of an exception, that issue.
Right.
I mean, this council has been, some would say, a little bit boring in the sense there hasn't been a lot of friction or drama with him generally.
It's time for a perp walk, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it really? Aren't we overdue? It's about time for somebody.
But, I can't really, I know that there's some people, I mean, the mayor, I think, was really out front on this issue, and I know there's some people who are not happy about it, but I can't really imagine that it would affect his prospects, or say Justin Rodriguez, who was also up front on it. He's in his final term.
Right.
So.
Lyle Larson also with us, running for a state rep seat this fall. This is the old Frank Court seat, right?
It is. It is.
When you look at what's happening, though, I got to ask you this. I don't want to make you uncomfortable, but look, we know you ran for Congress, and you ran in maybe the wrong year. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, do you ever think, man, what I could be doing right now as a Republican congressional candidate in 2010?
Yeah, the sentiments are a lot different than they were in 2008. What we were running into is a lot of Republicans were upset with Bush and with the spending that the Republicans had embraced for a number of years, and they said, you lost us. We're not going to vote for any Republicans. All those folks are back, plus they brought 20 of their friends, and they're going to vote on the Republican side. So timing is everything in politics, but in retrospect, I think that we ran a good campaign. It's funny that this station's trying to get Ciro Rodriguez to debate. We had 24 debates set up. He showed up for a half of one. And the reason being is the gentleman can't talk. If you listen to him in a debate, he struggles to articulate his viewpoints.
So you're doing it right now. You really want to be running against him.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would enjoy it just because everything we talked about in our campaign is come true. You cannot spend your way out of a recession, and he was talking about the stimulus packages. He was talking about all of these things that were going to save the country, and I said absolutely will not work. We've got to extend the Bush tax cuts. We've got to put more money in the economy, and the government needs to curtail spending. Well, it's all come true, but but you're
not the guy that gets to say this now.
Yeah, you're right. Now we'll look at.
You'll get back in there.
Yeah, we'll see. But but you'd have to live to Washington also, and I think I've enjoyed the last couple of years growing my business and getting back to reality. The state rep seat, basically you spend 4 to 5 months every 2 years in Austin. You do constituent work from here, but you can live a normal life, and so that's pretty conducive to what I want to be doing in the next few years.
Yeah, I mean, you, as we mentioned at the start of the show, covered the Jean Paul Lacombe case. There's so many questions I could ask you about that, but one that I keep coming back to is, we watched this thing unfold. It had a lot of unique features, like the dual citizenship of the father and all of what went on with the husband and wife. But do you think is there like a reform that needs to come out of this, like
Yes.
Susan Reed is saying, or is
Yes.
this case so bizarre that in essence you can't really, you couldn't have prevented it?
There's a lot of reform that needs to be done. I mean, I have gotten so many calls from parents when you have such a high number of people nowadays getting divorced and they move to another state and they move outside of the country. There's a lot of room. One of them here, to me specifically, is the fact that you can go in, hold a hearing, ex parte, without the other person being there. Your child will be taken away from you, and before the court date, I can say, I'm done, I'm dropping this, I don't want to pursue it anymore, and I got the child with me. That's a huge problem. That's a loophole right there. And I think everybody tries to do the best, but these are children. They're not furniture. You can't move them and yank them around. Judges need to pay attention to what's going on. I mean, they try their best, but you know what? When something looks this difficult, let's stop. Let's stop. And another reform that needs to be done so nobody can come back and say, well, he's his friend, and maybe, you know what? Judges need to stop getting money from attorneys. I'm sorry. And that's my personal opinion on all of this, because it muddies the waters and it makes people wonder why things were done.
I guess, is there a role here for CPS, or are they so overburdened and maybe not having a lot of public credibility right now that that's not the answer?
You know what? They need to be able to take these children somewhere. When a child makes an outcry, law enforcement needs to listen and stop. When they stop, they need to be able to take them somewhere. And where else? Child Protective Services are the ones that we entrust with children when they're in danger or in questionable situations. Now, is this going to bring more work for them? Yes, it will. And that's a whole different show, what's going on with CPS, you know? But what's more important to us than our children, than spending the money on our children, so this does not happen? I mean, this was awful. As a mother, I can't even start telling you how awful this was to hear this child screaming on that bus. I had to walk away. The first time I heard it, I went in the bathroom for 10 minutes and cried because I was hearing this child begging for help and no one listened to him. The constables did not listen to him. He did not get his day in court to say, this is what I want to do.
Although I agree with you, that video was horrendous. It took that video to make this story dramatic enough to elevate it from one night only, and you move on to something else the next day. You were able to stay with it, pursue it, do enterprise reporting, and it's now something where people are saying maybe we need reforms. So in a way, that as bad as that video was, it may have made the difference.
It totally made the difference. And I mean, with this, we had been doing the story. We started October 19th. The first one went on the air. When this video came out, it was the week of Christmas. So it took that long. We kept doing the stories. The video came out, and then everybody picked it up. I was in New York City for Christmas, and they were calling me to come on CNN. Because they wanted this. Fox News wanted this. Everybody wanted it because then you had that element of drama and things and the emotional side. People understand emotions, you know. And that child, whether he was speaking in Spanish, French, or Chinese, you could hear the pain in his voice when he was screaming, no, 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 help me, please help me. And no one listened.